Cafe Kubal Studios. But what I was saying here this morning, don't wait for the positive comment to come. Be the positive comment that you need to hear. Be the comment. Don't wait for somebody, because you know what? I put up a lot of positive things over the weeks here. I put up a lot of positive things, and I sat here and saw all these negative comments come out, right? It was like, I put up the poll to show that Syracuse was in the top 22. And you get people saying, do you want a cookie? Congratulations for, basically for what? And when you take a picture, you can't have the whole, I didn't have all the 25. It cut off like Georgia, and it cut off the couple under Syracuse, because I want to be able to zoom in, because the post was about Syracuse. If anybody read the post only talks about Syracuse. That's why I put it up. But people don't read it, because people complain about literally everything. And I thought that this world was crazy, but somebody was like, where's Georgia? What type of poll is this? Why isn't Georgia on the poll? I don't know, what is this poll about? And it's like, dude, just read the poll. Georgia's there. I just took a picture of it. You know, you ever take a picture of a restaurant? And somebody goes, well, where's the other wall? Did it burn down? Is there no other wall? Is it open and exposed now? No, idiot. This is where I was sitting. I mean, I've realized putting up positive comments, welcoming somebody's new business, and having people spread negativity about that. You know? Or, oh, we already have that. Oh, we already got what they got for their business. We've had ours for years. Oh, they behind the schedule. Oh, who cares? And I've seen so much negativity in this world. And we got a lot to get into today, and we're going to unpack it all. I've seen so much negativity in this world. So much. But it's gotten to the point where the negativity is like for the sake of negativity. It's just negativity for the sake of negativity. It's negativity that is so off base, ridiculous, crazy. Like, who would think of this stuff? Who would think to complain about this stuff? There's people complaining now 3 weeks later that Syracuse fans rushed the field to celebrate going to a bowl game. There are people that have complained about that for 3 weeks now. What's so terrible about your life? Number one, why you got the time to complain about this, right? I'm happy y'all watch my video. I appreciate that. But there's people sharing this video, mad about it, and then somebody finally put up, why don't we just be happy for people? Obviously, these people at Syracuse are celebrating. It's a beautiful moment for them. Why don't we just say congratulations and move on? You know, it's funny to me that people don't want you to take their happy. They want to be happy. They don't want you to take it from them. They want you to write all those positive comments and give them all that love and tell them how great they are. But they don't do it back. They don't do it back. You know, and I know this world needs a lot of work. I know this world is messed up beyond belief. I know this world has a lot of trash to clean up. That's why I'm happy it's trash day for some people out there. But who are we if we just attack each other? Who are we if we don't show love? Who are we if we don't respect each other? Who are we if we ask for what we're not willing to give? I had somebody lie to me recently. And see, I don't let people get away with that without saying something. If you waste my time, I'm going to say something. I am. And I did. And I don't know if that person's ever heard somebody say that to them. Like, hey, in the future, don't ever waste somebody's time again. Don't disrespect people like that. You need to get better. You need to be better. You know, and I don't know if anybody's ever been talked to. I don't know if that person had ever been talked to like that. But it was time. Because I don't let people get away with garbage anymore. I don't. I speak. I need to. Right? I am trying to be a good person in society and have a good life. It's what I want. It's what I go for. And what you realize is not everybody wants that for other people. Not everybody wants people to be happy. Not everybody cares if they waste your time. You know, and I find it so interesting living in a society where, you know, some of us, I was talking to my buddy last night about this, I said some of us fight for certain things in our lives that we feel like we've never had. And we hope and we hope and we hope and we hope. And we try to keep hope alive. And then we get that taste, right? Oh my gosh, hope is here. We got something to hope in. And we get so excited. And we look so much forward to that. That thing that we hope in. And then what happens? Sometimes that thing that we hope in is beautiful. And sometimes it is an ugly, horrible representation. A wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will. And what do you do then? How do you last then? You have to endure. You have to be the positive message that you want to hear. You have to be the thing that you need most. You have to be what you want to see. You have to be, what did Gandhi say? Be the good you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. I'll say be the good you want to see in the world, right? Close. But I come to you this morning humbled by the fact that not every single person cares, not every single person tries, and not every single person is going to do anything when they mess up. Some people will. Some people will try. Some people will be good. But I told somebody yesterday, I said, words of advice for your future. Don't lie to people and don't give people false hope. Because if I spend my time with you and you lie to me and you waste it, you don't ever get to have it again. Well, Dan, don't you give second chances? Yeah, I give second chances where they're earned. If you're a stranger to me and you waste my time in our first interaction, you'll never get time from me again. You have to do a hell of a lot of work to get time from me again. I shouldn't say never, but there's a good chance you're not going to get my time. And I just find it interesting when people do something really crappy to somebody else. And what do they say? Well, can we still be friends? Can we be friends through all this? We weren't friends before, and what you did to me proves that we're never going to be friends. We're never going to hang out. Because I don't like the person that you are. I don't like the person that you are and who you chose to be. It's okay to look a person in the eye and say, I don't like how you treat people. I don't like how you go about the way that you interact with people. Your disrespect for people is sick. And if somebody down the road wastes your time, gives you false hope, makes you believe in something, and then disappears, what would you do? Let me ask you a question. If you were fighting to get a job, right? And you're fighting to get a job, and you go through the interview process, they tell you they're going to hire you, you sign all the paperwork, they say, show up on Monday for your new job, and you're ecstatic, and you tell your wife and kids or husband and friends or whoever, mom, dad, and you tell them, I got this, I've been fighting to get a job forever, I finally got this job, I finally got this opportunity, I'm going to do it, right? And you show up to work Monday morning, and they say, what are you doing here? And you say, what do you mean? And you got a suit on, you got a tie on, you got a dress on, whatever you got on. You're all dressed up to the nines. You woke up an hour and a half early because you wanted, and you're 10 minutes away because you wanted to look nice, and you wanted to be ready, and you know this is your only first day at this job ever. So you walk in, you sign all your paperwork, you talk to HR, you know how much money you're going to make. They told you they're hiring you. They told you you're good. They said, congratulations, you got the job. And you show up to work on Monday, and they stand at the door, and they say, what are you doing here? And you say, well, you gave me the job. I'm here to start my day. And they say, oh, no. We gave that to somebody else. What would you do? What would you do? That happens in all walks of life. It happens in friendships. It happens in romance. It happens in jobs. It happens in a house. People that lie and waste your time are people that really need to understand. You get out of the world what you put in. And I will never wish bad on a human being ever. Ever. It's not wishing bad when you say to someone, you get what you give. Because if they gave good, they don't have to worry about what they're going to get. You're not wishing bad on somebody that does a bad thing and you say, well, you get what you give. Well, Dan, why would you wish that on me? Wait a second. Why did you do that to somebody? If you're a good person and I said you get what you give, you should be ecstatic. You should be excited. Oh my God, God's going to give me how good I treat other people. That's going to come back to me. But when you tell somebody how bad you treat people, that may come back. What? Oh, don't wish bad on my household, Dan. It's not wishing bad on your household. It's telling you that what you put into the world, you're going to get back. So with all due respect, you've wished bad on your household. By doing bad, that's what you've brought. See, people don't learn how to blame themselves for what they do. You have to blame yourself when you're wrong. And you have to get better through that. If you're the type of person that can't look in the mirror and have an honest conversation with yourself, you got a long road to hoe. Because life is not easy. And some of us make it worse. Some of us make life a heck of a lot worse by the way we treat other people. So this morning and every morning, I ask you to take a step back, look at what you're doing, and if it's positive or negative, and what you're contributing to society. You might not think it's a big deal that you hurt somebody that's a total stranger to you, but you have no idea when you will cross paths with that person, someone that knows that person, or a situation that may put you exactly in the spot you put somebody else in. And do not complain. I know you will, but do not complain the day that somebody does to you what you did to them. Don't complain about that. Because if you put good into the world, that should sound great. But if you put bad into the world and it comes back someday, I don't want to hear you complain about it. Well, Dan, why would this happen to me? Well, you spit into the wind. And sometimes the wind blows back. And that's reality. I tell people karma is only a you-know-what if you slap her. I hug Karma. Hey, Karma, what's good? How you doing, Karma? You having a good day, Karma? Do you need a piece of pie? Or would you like some coffee, Karma? One of the worst things you can do in this world, hence why it's the golden rule. And what does it say? The one thing that God asked us to remember? Above all things, besides He loves us, the thing that God asked us to remember, treat others as you would want them to treat you. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. How simple. Treat people, animals, nature, treat people, treat others, treat everything the way you would want to be treated. Period. And how quickly some of us forget that. Don't ask the world for what you won't give it. Simple as that. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is here on mixlr.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com, all /Wake Up Call DT. Always proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. We're also on facebook.com /LiveNowDT and on wakeupcalldt.com. We're inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal is located for you all throughout central and upstate New York on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all of those in Syracuse. You'll also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. So make sure you head out to Cafe Kubal today and support local in your community. We appreciate you so very much. It is pumpkin spice season, so you'll catch that at Cafe Kubal as well. The only place that I pick up my pumpkin spice chai. It is fantastic. I just got it a few days ago, and I'm jonesing for it. Every time I have it, it smells good. I just want to let it just sit there and just smell up the room. You know, to smell it, beautiful. To drink it, even better. Get out to Cafe Kubal today for pumpkin spice chai, your favorite coffees, and so much more, so you can enjoy what local tastes like. And speaking of what local tastes like, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, another great local company here with fantastic flavors for you, and a party, literally a party. Every time you go in there, it looks like you're in a little amusement park. I love it so very much, and I love the staff. And I love the warmness of Ma and Pa's and the smiles we always get. Thanks for being good people. Inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. AD and DT, there's going to be a bonus today as Tom Bonus and the Moyne Dolphins men's soccer team is moving on to the championship game for the NE10 in the postseason after winning by penalty kicks on the road against Adelphi 3-1. We'll discuss that with Athletic Director of Lemoyne College, Bob Beretta, right after this fast break. Then I'll get into college football, my college football picks for Week 10, and we'll get into the college football playoff. The first ranking of the season for 2022-23 is out. We'll discuss that. We'll get into my NFL picks for Week 9, and we'll talk about high school football, what's going on in the community, and the World Series now tied 2 games apiece. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to come back with all of this where sports meets life. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. We appreciate you as always, and I can't tell you how much it means to me that you make us a part of your morning inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315
487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourself a fantastic week and a great morning this morning. If it's not that great, well, we're going to make it better. If it is that great, well, we're going to keep it rocking and rolling in the right direction. That's what we do here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, as well as inside of their double-decker cafe on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location in North Syracuse. So, with that being said, very excited this morning to have inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' here on the broadcast with us, with plenty of topics to talk about. One of the wonderful, wonderful things that we get to do in the postseason here is talk about the opportunity that the Moyne College Dolphins men's soccer team has given themselves to continue to move on in the right direction here, winning last night on penalty kicks, 0-0 for, I believe, 113 minutes until we saw Moyne take down Adelphi on the road in Garden City, New York, 3-1 on penalty kicks to give themselves an opportunity to see Franklin Pierce again after being a blemish on Franklin Pierce's schedule this season in the regular season. They got a shot at the number one team in the NE10 in a championship game that will go on this Saturday, November 5th. And you can go to LeMoyneDolphins.com to make sure you follow that and watch it live, as well as check the stats and all that is right there on the website, which has been updated as well. So with that being said, it is my honor and privilege to have a bonus AD and DT featuring Bob Beretta here on the broadcast, the athletic director of Moyne College, in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Bob, how are you today?
I'm excellent, Dan. How are you today? And thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Bob, listen, last night, I know you well enough to know that you were sitting at a computer somewhere or your phone, biting your nails, staring at the screen, hoping for a good decision here. Bring me into the fact that Moyne College gets to celebrate an advancement to the NE10 Men's Soccer Championship Game, and paint a picture for me of what life was like through the eyes of Bob Beretta last night, watching this matchup between Moyne and Adelphi.
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted to see me watching that match last night, because I was on the edge of my seat, as I'm sure all Dolphin fans. But it was a phenomenal match, and I thought that our young men really carried play for the most of the contest. That Adelphi side is tough, and they were ranked 9th in the East region, and we just defeated them 3-0 a few weeks earlier here at Ted Grant Field. So really thought it was going to be a tough matchup, and it was. They had a really vocal crowd there down in Garden City, and I just can't give enough praise to our young men. We talk about championship mentality, and I talk about black flag mentality all the time. And, that's the opposite of the white flag to surrender is the black flag of just never surrendering. And that's what our young men have displayed all season long. They have 6 individuals out, 6 starters out with season-ending injuries. I've never seen anything like it around a soccer program. And they just keep next man up. They keep plugging gaps, and they just keep working and working and working. And that match last night was fantastic. And I can't say enough about the effort of Josh Marr, our goalie. He made 3 consecutive saves in the PK session after allowing the first goal. We fell behind 1-0. And then he came up with 3 monstrous saves that really led us to the victory.
Yeah, and an incredible finish for the Moyne Dolphins in this matchup against Adelphi in penalty kicks to keep that time going. There's something to be said about the fact that this postseason, and speaking with head coach of Moyne Dolphins men's soccer team, Tom Bonus, after that first game, I said, you needed that extra period. You're up 2-0. They tie it 2-2 in the previous game. And once that all comes to fruition, here you are trying to find your way in that game, having to play an extra period. And so you play that, you get the goal, you're up 3-2, you got to play another 10-minute period, and then in this game, they play both of those periods again and move on to penalty kicks. So the never say die mentality and approach of Lemoyne men's soccer is fully in the spotlight right now in both of these playoff games, just outlasting their opponent. And what can you say to that? I mean, you spent 34 years in Army West Point. You know what it's like in a special multi-layered approach that they have there of the never say die mentality, never give up, be in a foxhole, pull somebody out of it, keep moving, keep going forward. And in the world of Lemoyne soccer now, as you've been here as the AD, you've watched this team and many teams on the Heights never give up. And resiliency through adversity, to me, is one of the best stories we can tell in any walk of life.
Yeah, it really is. It's a mindset, and it's that championship mindset. It's that you will not be defeated, and there's going to be obstacles, and there's going to be adversity, and these are life lessons. We talk about teaching these life lessons on our fields and courts and in the swimming pool and all those things, and that's what this is. This is one big laboratory for life. That's what athletics is, and it instills things in individuals that are very difficult to duplicate in other settings around a college campus, whether it's teamwork or whether it's overcoming adversity or fighting through challenges and, next man up mentality. That's that black flag mentality. So we're never going to surrender. We're going to fight until the last second on that clock or the last out or whatever is what tells you that the match is finally over. You've run out of opportunities to fight. We're never going to stop fighting until someone tells us that you can't fight anymore. And that's what this soccer team has done. They have they've lost some key people. We're on our third, as you know, Dan, you followed this program very closely all year long. Yeah. We're on our third center back. We've been decimated by injuries at such a crucial position, and we've got players that are on the field now that have maybe logged minimal field time throughout the regular season, and now they're playing critical minutes for us in a championship setting, and it's invigorating to watch their spirit, their fight, and I love where they're at right now. They go into this matchup against Franklin Pierce on Saturday with absolutely nothing to lose. They're the 7 seed. Franklin Pierce, not only the number 1 team in the NE10, Franklin Pierce is the number 1 ranked team in the country right now. They're 19-0-1. The only blemish, a tie against Lemoyne. And, if you look around the world of college soccer, Mercyhurst, just down the road in Erie, they're 17-0-1 this year, and their only blemish, a tie against Lemoyne. So this team has shown the ability to raise its level of play, and it's a talented group, and we thought that if they could just gel at the right time, that great things could be possible. And despite all the injuries, they've shown that fight, that intestinal fortitude, that grit, that tenacity, all those things that we talk about and we want to develop as an athletics department. It's been on full display by the men's soccer program here this season. And they've lost some really tough games, and they've been able to bounce back from it. They lost that game against New Haven in October when we were up 2-1 with 55 seconds to go and ended up losing that match. 2 goals in the last 55 seconds. A team could crumble there, and this team didn't crumble. And then, as you alluded to earlier, in that victory over Southern Connecticut, down to 2 minutes left in the match, Southern Connecticut ties the match, and that could have just been a devastating blow. And instead, Lemoyne comes back out in the extra period in the first overtime session and scores what proves to be the game winner on a PK. So tremendous praise for Tom Bonus and these young men, because they have really put on a tremendous display of grit and tenacity for us right before our eyes.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful thing to see. And I started off the show talking about, there's so much negativity in the world, sometimes negativity for the sake of negativity, and people just saying things, and you sit back and you say, how can you find anything wrong with that? And then here's this silver lining, beautiful story of Lemoyne men's soccer and everything that they've done, this positive story. And I tell people, drown out the negativity with that positivity and continue to accentuate that, spotlight that, showcase that. A team that has gotten better with all of their injuries, a team that has gotten better with the adversity, with teams coming back, with those tough losses, a team that somehow took all of this tough and turned it into toughness. Took all of these moments where they could have collapsed and found a way to be reborn with a new center back, then another new center back, then another guy here and another guy there. This isn't just games being won. This is a team showing we have depth, we have a brotherhood, we have a connection, we have a love for the game, we have a love for each other, we have a desire to win, we have good leadership, and we're moving forward. And you have nothing to lose playing the number one team in the NE10, the number one ranked team in the country. And like you said, the only blemish for Franklin Pierce and Mercyhurst come from Lemoyne men's soccer. And here you have Franklin Pierce this Saturday, November 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And they came to Ted Grant Field, and that was a tie. Now the Dolphins go to them and see what this can look like in Rindge, New Hampshire. Bob, I talked to Tom and you about this going into the season. Tom and I have spoke about it throughout the season, and you and I have reflected upon it. What they got to do as a team to get away from everything, get away from technology, get away from the normal hustle and bustle of life, and go on this retreat led by someone from Army West Point, and having that chance to be together, and having Coach have a chance to go stand arm in arm with his student athletes and the entire staff to do that because they were being led by someone else so they could all experience it together. I asked Coach if it paid off dividends. He said without doubt. And I'd love to get your thoughts on the fact that this season started with a team retreat to build the team, bring the team together, get to know each other, and do different things like walking up a hill and carrying a rock and then handing it to the person behind you and that person behind you, and showing that not only do we have to get up this hill together, but we're going to get up this hill with strife. We're going to have to carry something. We're going to have to carry each other's burdens, injuries that happen, different things that go on, mistakes made, but we're all going to get up this mountain together. They did it literally, and now they're doing it in the game, and I can't help but see the parallel between the two.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up, Dan. I am a big believer in these type of retreats, these off-site opportunities for team bonding. That's where teams come together. We talked about championship teams are built in the off-season. They're not built in season, right? That's where you execute. But the championship teams, the mindset, that's all built in the off-season. And going to Golden Goal up in Albany in August when the team returned, early August, I thought was a brilliant move by Coach Bonus, and he brought in someone from West Point who I know very well, who works with the professional teams when they go to West Point for these similar team bonding retreats. And his name is Colonel John Navoychek. He came up here and worked with our women's basketball team in the offseason as well. And I'm a firm believer that all that goes into that mixture. It all becomes part of the recipe, that formula for success. You can lean back on those times where you spent together going through these experiences off the pitch, off the soccer field. Have nothing to do with soccer. It's all about bonding and where you can trust. You learn to trust and love and share experiences together. And, it just brings a team together. And I am a firm believer that has something to do with our results this season, because we had plenty of opportunities where this team could have pitched, could have pitched the tent, could have packed it up and gone home, right? Could have packed the season and said, you know what, we made a good run at it, but we just can't overcome all these challenges. And they've done exactly the opposite. They've waved that black flag better than anyone. They've been a great display of intestinal fortitude, and I think that they do lean back on that experience in August. They talk about it all the time, and I'm a big believer that those opportunities to bring teams together pay dividends down the road in season.
And here with Bob Beretta, Athletics Director of Lemoyne College, speaking on the beauty and the majesty of putting in the work and seeing that work develop into positive results. We see Moyne Dolphins men's soccer team playing for the NE10 Championship and making a case for themselves, obviously for the NCAAs, as Franklin Pierce, the number one ranked team in the nation and number one team in the NE10, will be their next matchup, the next thing for them to conquer in front of them. And that game is this Saturday, November 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can watch it live on LeMoyneDolphins.com, a website that has been newly designed, redesigned, and released this morning here. So we get to also bring that into fruition, be another part of history, Bob. So before I let you go, as we're talking about Lemoyne soccer, if anybody goes to LemoyneDolphins.com, looks up the upcoming matchup today, exhibition between Lemoyne women's basketball and Syracuse women's basketball in the Dome. If they go on to LemoyneDolphins.com for any reason, they're going to see a change and a new way to navigate through the website. Very clean, polished. I'm liking it. I'm looking through it. I'm going to play with it a little more today, but I've already done that in the studio a bit here this morning. What can you tell us about the redesign and the timing of it all?
Well, thanks, Dan, and great credit to Craig Lane, who oversees our communications area, Tim Fenton, some others, members of our staff that had input. And we began working on this look back in the late spring and summer with a vision to try and put something together that was a little more user-friendly, perhaps, gave things a different look. We liked our former site, but it was time for a refresh, if you will. 5 or 6 years had transpired, so we wanted to give it a new, clean look, and hopefully fans can easily navigate it. We have a first-in-kind element on top where when we have live events, the streaming will be an alert up there, and that's the first of its kind in the industry, so we're excited about that. We think the calendar is really easy to get to and gives you a deeper look at what's upcoming on our side. Our video, we put a bunch of buttons and things, so I think it's visually appealing, and hopefully our fans will find it something, a venue, a place that they'll want to go back many times over and really enjoy the navigation piece and some of the new features and elements that we put in there. But really appreciate the work that Craig Lane put into this. Mike Robinson, another person who put a lot of work into it from our staff, and other members, like I mentioned, of our leadership team that have had input throughout the process. So we're excited about it. It's a new, fresh look. It's a new day, and you can go on there and follow our men's soccer program here right on through the championship this weekend, hopefully onto the NCAAs following that. This is our first appearance in the NE10 Championship, Dan, since 2016, and the last time that we won it was 2009. So I think there's no better time than the present than to add our third NE10 men's soccer championship this weekend.
Amen to that, and I definitely think that, and it's at 6 p.m. this Saturday, November 5th. Once again, I think you and I need to find a way to maybe sit somewhere quietly within a cone of silence to watch this game, because you and I are very vocal throughout matches and give our thoughts. The one thing you will know, Bob, is that as I am typically sitting to your right, I can promise you, for this game at least, that there will be nobody sitting to your left. As we commonly know, you always have that interesting left seat sitter, so you're not going to have to worry about that. And Bob, one other thing here is we're sending off the women to the Dome today for their exhibition game. Lone exhibition game for Syracuse women's basketball is going to be the Moyne Dolphins. We know the men's team has gone to the Dome numerous times, and now here we are with the women's basketball team that's going to be heading out there. Nate Champion's been there. Steve Evans has been there when he was head coach of the men's team. Now we get to see Mary Grimes in her second season as Lemoyne head coach head off to the Dome with her team from 4 to 5 p.m. There's going to be a send-off today on the Heights on campus at Lemoyne, and the game later tonight. And just what you want to tell the community as well as the women's basketball team as they get set to make some history of their own this evening.
Yeah, I'm appreciative of the opportunity, Dan, to speak to that as well. And, I think you can see there's a lot of excitement around our athletics program, whether it's men's soccer or the basketball seasons or the women's game tonight at SU and the exhibition game at the Dome. We're excited. We're moving forward. There's progress. There's a lot of energy surrounding our teams. We're building off the momentum and the success we had last spring. We have the send-off today for the community. Everyone is invited to attend in the lobby of our event center from 4 to 5 o'clock today before we send the team on the bus over to the Dome for that game tonight at 7 o'clock. And we're excited. We're excited to wrap the fall season up on a high note here with men's soccer. Hopefully several more weeks to go there with their participation in postseason. And then we're really excited about the prospects of both the women's and men's basketball teams. We feel like there's an awful lot of talent. I think the women's team is a younger addition, but we're really, really interested to see how that all meshes, because Coach Grimes is excited about the talent that she's imported, and I know the men's team is really chomping at the bit, ready to get started. There are some new faces out there that depth, I think, is the word that you can use for these teams this year. There's going to be tremendous depth on both the men's and women's side. And I know Coach Grimes last year, she worked wonders with a short bench. She had a rotation of about 7 players due to injuries. And now she's going to be able to go a lot deeper and have to figure out how to get all that talent on the court at once. And Coach Champion, likewise, he imported some really exciting young talent, some transfers, and some new players that I couldn't be more excited heading into the winter. And what a great way to wrap up the fall here with this outstanding performance by the men's soccer team. We're excited. It's a great day to be a Dolphin, Dan, and we appreciate you're part of that Dolphin family of ours, part of our pod, as we like to call it.
Yeah, I love it, and I love when I can throw in a Finding Nemo reference and say, just keep swimming last night. So, always good to do something like that. Bob, as always, thank you so much. Franklin Pierce, once again, will be the next team on the docket. NE10 Championship Game, the 7-seeded Moyne Dolphins men's soccer team going up against number 1-seeded Franklin Pierce this Saturday, November 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and it can all be watched, streamed live on LeMoyneDolphins.com, new redesigned website. Bob, as always, I appreciate it. I look forward to it, and I look forward to seeing you later today for a little bit. I might as well just get some type of loft apartment at Ted Grant, one of those either at the field or the court. I'm there enough, so I feel like there's got to be like a hammock with my name on it, at least at some point.
Yeah, we got to get you a corner office here in the event center. We're looking at hopefully a redesign of this building here in the next year and a half, so maybe we can program a little working space for you, because you do spend an awful lot of time over here, and we love having you, Dan.
Well, I appreciate it. I thank you for that. It's an honor as always, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon, Bob. Thanks for joining us for a few minutes today.
My pleasure, Dan. Fins up.
Fins up. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye now.
Take care. That coming from Bob Beretta, once again, the athletics director at Lemoyne College, and talking about the successes of this men's soccer team, this never say die. They have played in extra periods in both of their NE10 playoff games so far in this postseason. And they have one more up to go against the number 1 ranked team in the nation, Franklin Pierce, who only has one blemish on their schedule, as I mentioned before and Bob mentioned, and that is a tie to Lemoyne. And Mercyhurst, undefeated, if not for a tie to Lemoyne. So something to be said about what Lemoyne's doing against these teams that are incredibly talented and respected around the entire nation. Lemoyne Dolphins swimming on to the championship game this Saturday, November 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Watch it on LeMoyneDolphins.com. So excited for everything that's coming up. We got a lot of things to get into. You see a giant Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factories. What's popping? What is this? This is our menu for the day, right? This is like the flavors of kettle corn and popcorn you can get at Ma and Pa's. There's a ton of them, and there's a ton of things for us to get into. College football Week 10 picks, the college football playoff rankings. What do I think about them? Isaac and I are going to dive deeper into this tomorrow, as you expected to see Tortora and Alfred on Monday, and there was a little technical glitch, so we got to give you a portion of our conversation, but we're going to give you the whole thing in a bonus live edition from the Cafe Kubal Studios right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this Friday at night. We're going to do it at night. So we're going to have an awesome opportunity to visit with you on Friday after I visit with you in our normal scheduled time from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Friday morning. So you're going to get a double dose of Wake Up Call this Friday, and Isaac and I will dive deeper into it. But I'll give my initial thoughts on the college football playoffs first rankings of the season, and we'll get into my NFL Week 9 picks. In honor of Papa Joe, I'm holding down the fort for the both of us. He's typically with me every Thursday, the whole show, from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We call it the PJ Takeover, PJ, and he has been for the last few weeks nursing through, having to have some surgery and some stuff going on. He is a trooper. He has been through more than enough, in my opinion, and God is good and God is great, and everything he's been through, he ends up being okay. So my prayers, my well wishes, my hopes to my other dad. I love you so much, Papa Joe. Please know I'm with you. Hopefully I make you proud holding down the fort today, and I look forward to talking with you soon. And we'll talk about high school football. We'll get ready for tonight's broadcast, because you got another bonus wake-up call. So, under promise, over deliver. We say we're Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Yet we have a show tonight with the Beeville Bees, sending them off into their postseason matchup up against the CNS North Stars. We have a show with them tonight at Pizza Man, Thursday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then tomorrow we're going to have a Tortora and Alfred after our broadcast. So a lot of great stuff coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Love having you here, and very proudly wear this Lemoyne sweatshirt today in honor of those Dolphins. You see it says Dolphins right here. Let me see. Can I show it to you? There it is. So proudly wear this in honor of everything that they're doing on the Heights, including an ode and an appreciation and a thanks and a spotlight to the Moyne Dolphins men's soccer team. I love you all. I hope the best for you, and thank you for giving us such an amazing story, such an amazing season. I'm so happy that y'all are living it. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. And I just want to tell every student athlete, coach, and everybody that works in the administration, in the athletic communications department, and everyone that's been a part of this Lemoyne men's soccer program, God bless you, and thank you for your work. I appreciate it. We'll take a step aside. Plenty to come. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets life, right after this fast break.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for. to be listened to and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets life. And, of course, Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street is where you'll find them in Syracuse. You'll also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. If you haven't been to Cafe Kubal, head out there today and get yourself some pumpkin spice chai, get some awesome coffees, as well as their fantastic meals, all the great stuff they have to offer. And of course, their cookies are so incredibly good. So get out to Cafe Kubal today. A great place to hang out with the family, to go on a date, to grab some coffee with a friend, to reunite with somebody, whatever you got going on, hang out. We've done it. We've had teams there. We've had meetings there. I've had heart-to-hearts there. A lot of good things at Cafe Kubal. So head out and make a memory at Cafe Kubal today. 3501 James Street, the OG location, and all of their locations in Central and Upstate New York. I got my candle ready, my Witty Wicks candle, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Here's Witty Wicks. Get a little bit of love right there. You can see, you're like, oh my gosh, Dan, look at that candle. There's all this glass here. What does that mean? It means that I burn these candles every day. And they're so beautiful and wonderful. The Namaste at Home one helps out my allergies. And it really, with these being made with natural ingredients, when I breathe this one in, I literally can feel it go through my nose and like down my throat and create this passage. So it doesn't only smell good, it's helpful, especially this time of year. So big thanks to Aubrey and the entire team at Witty Wicks, 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York. Make sure you go out and see them today. Big fan of all that they do. And they're surrounded. I'm surrounded by them. 315 Home Sweet Home. Cuse Home Sweet Home. The Cuse 315 Syracuse with the new dome pillow. These are all available while supplies last. So these are local products here. A lot of things made locally. You have to get yourself out to Witty Wicks. And don't miss out on grabbing this stuff while you can, as well as all of their Christmas and holiday season that they have redecorated Witty Wicks into. So get out to Witty Wicks today. We look forward to seeing you out there supporting local. So getting to some messages we have on the side here. And, I got the best mom. I really do. I have the best mom in the world. Why? Well, she's always there. I'm 37 years old, and my mom has supported every dream I've ever had, including the fact of just being here today. She listens to the show, watches the show every day. She told me when she went back to work and her schedule had changed, she said, I'm going to miss getting up and listening to the show in the morning. And she would still at work find some time to go and listen for 10 minutes, shoot me a good morning. How are you doing? I love you, honey. And so if you have a mother that's alive and picks up the phone and calls you, a father that's alive picks up the phone, calls you, consider yourself extremely blessed. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do. I saw a message a long time ago that had an incoming call from mom and an incoming from dad. And they said, if you receive either one of these calls today, you are blessed beyond measure. And I have both of my parents, and I love them both dearly. And I'm just grateful that they are alive and that they love me and they support me and that they're here for me. So thank you, Ma. Thank you, Dad. Greg saying, sending prayers and healing wishes to the one and only PJ. PJ, that's right. Greg said, plenty on competitive football games this week. Finally, Finally. He said, other than the obvious SU Pitt, Tennessee, Georgia, would love you to take a look at Texas A&M, Florida for PJ, Oklahoma State, Kansas, UCF, Memphis, UTSA, UAB. Well, that's a good matchup that's going to be inside of the American Athletic Conference next season. Texas, Kansas State, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Wake versus NC State. So, yeah, we got a great docket, Greg. Thanks for shooting those over. We got a lot of good things to get into, and we're going to get into it right now. College football, week 10, folks, is where we are, and it is time for me to give my analysis of what I think for this upcoming week 10 inside of the college football. I don't know if I said NFL. If I did, my bad. So looking at this right now, taking a look at college football week 10 and the schedule that we have coming up here, making my picks for this week and making sure that y'all know who I am picking, so you can, of course, tell me, Dan, you were right. Or, Dan, how'd you get this one wrong? What were you thinking, Dan? So we're going to definitely get these going. We got some MACtion last night. We got some MACtion last night and the night before. Ball State defeated Kent State 27-20 on Tuesday. I was wondering when we were going to get back to these Tuesday, Wednesday games. Buffalo lost to Ohio 45-24. Central Michigan took down Northern Illinois 35-22 yesterday, and Western Michigan fell to Bowling Green 13-9. My guy over there in Western Michigan, Tim Lester, taking a loss, and I was out to dinner with my dad last night and actually got to see some of that game, so it was good to definitely see what the game looked like. Unfortunately, it did not end in favor of one of my dearest friends. So shout out to Tim Lester. We got games Tuesday, Wednesday we've had this week. We have games Thursday, today. We have UTEP at Rice. We also have Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina. This is one of the games of the year. I don't think people fully realize this. App State, Coastal Carolina is like a championship game in the middle of the season for the Sun Belt. Two teams that have played spoilers, two teams that have been ranked in the nation's top 25 in recent history. They're going off tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. So after you go to the Dome to see Lemoyne take on Syracuse for women's basketball, you can get yourself home safe and sound and put this game on, Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina. There's games tomorrow, Friday. Two teams that usually get beat up on are going to try to beat each other, and someone's going to come out of victory with a victory in this independent matchup between UMass and UConn at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS Sports Network. One of the most difficult things to get on the internet. Duke will play Boston College on the road tomorrow night as well on Friday, November 4th. And number 23 ranked Oregon State will take on Washington on the road at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The doubleheader of Duke, Boston College, Oregon State, Washington will be on ESPN2. So those are the games we have coming up. Boston College just lost to UConn. UConn has been stanking it up, folks, and Boston College found a way to lose to UConn. They could not get themselves points in this game. It was so ridiculous. Well, UMass is playing UConn, and you say, Dan, are you really going to do this game? I am going to do this game. UMass at UConn. I am going to UConn coming off a victory over Boston College and UMass, folks. This is a team that, I love App State and Coastal Carolina, so I'm definitely going to give my thoughts on that one in just a little bit here. But getting back to this one, UMass and UConn, folks, we're getting into it. UMass is won against Stony Brook 20-3. You just beat Boston College. Remember when UConn and Boston College used to be part of the old Big East? Man, that was fun. That felt good. This game felt like that, as we have UConn 4-5 this season. They get 2 more dubs, and they're bowl eligible as an independent team. UConn has not been playing the way they have in the past. Jim Mora Jr.'s got this team on the winning side of things. Congratulations to him for that. Randy Etzel, in my opinion, done dirty by the school, and I miss him being there. The team has won 3 of their last 4 for UConn. Fresno State 19-14. At FIU 33-12, lost to Ball State 25-21 on the road, and just defeated Boston College 13-3 at home. Their other win this season came right before they lost to Syracuse, when they won at home against Central Connecticut State 28-3. So 4-5 is the record for UConn, and I believe that they can. I'm picking UConn in this matchup, folks. Yes on yes on yes. I am going to go with UConn to win their matchup at home against UMass to beat another team from the state of Massachusetts in back-to-back weeks. I am picking UConn to win this game. So UConn, there you go. I got a dub coming your way this weekend. 4-5. They're going to get to 500. And believe it or not, folks, this team is going to be knocking on the door of going to a bowl game after all these 1 to 3 win seasons they've had in recent history. We're going to see where they go from here, and I think they get a victory. Next game up that we have to talk about here, we got a lot of games that I'm going to get into today, and going to go in order here of try to go to all of these games. Greg brought up a bunch of great ones, so we're going to get to all these matchups in my Week 10 college football predictions. So let's go to the next one. Duke at Boston College. Well, Duke's been able to score, and BC under Jeff Hafley I thought was going to be playing better, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised positively with Duke, and I'm surprised negatively with Boston College. Duke has shown me that they're better than I thought they would be, where BC has done the opposite. I thought BC would be better. I'm picking Duke in this matchup to win this game. I got Duke on the road over Boston College, so let's see how this one shakes out. Big fan of what Mike Elko is doing coming from Texas A&M with those Duke Blue Devils. Next game we have up here, and that game is going to be played on Friday, mind you. Well, let's go backward here to tonight. Appalachian State and Coastal Carolina. Whichever team wins is a win for college football, in my opinion. The team that loses sometimes gets bumped out of the top 25, and Appalachian State is 5-3 right now. They're trying to become bowl eligible with 4 games to go at Coastal Carolina, at Marshall, Old Dominion at home, and at Georgia Southern. They have defeated Georgia State, Robert Morris at home, Citadel at home, Troy at home, and they defeated Texas A&M early on in the season on the road when Texas A&M was ranked 5th in the country out of the SEC. They won that game 17-14, playing spoiler like they always do. Coastal Carolina is 7-1. They're already going to a bowl game. Folks in Coastal Carolina started off the season with a 6-game winning streak against Army at home, Gardner-Webb at home, Buffalo at home, at Georgia State, Georgia Southern at home, at Louisiana Monroe on the road again, and then lost their only loss of the season to Old Dominion, 49-21. Old Dominion coming from Conference USA and telling Conference USA, we are joining the Sun Belt, and Conference USA said, no, you're not. They said Marshall, Southern Miss, and Old Dominion were not allowed to leave early, and they left early anyways. And Old Dominion got a victory over Coastal Carolina in their first season in the league. And Marshall, they defeated in their first season in the league. They defeated the Herd 24-13, and that was on the road. So, Coastal Carolina 7-1, Appalachian State 5-3. What do you think, Dan? Where's this game going to go? In my opinion, when I see games like this, I sit here and I go, can they both win? That'd be really wonderful if we could just give them both a victory, because I love watching these teams. But here we are. App State is going to be on the road at Coastal Carolina. And this is a tough one for me, folks. But I'm going to pick Coastal Carolina. I'm going to get the Chanticleers. I got them winning this game, and I still got to get my Chanticleers hat. I got to make that happen. So I got to go online and start shopping for that. That could be, maybe that's a good Christmas gift idea for some family members that are listening. Coastal Carolina, picking them to win this game. However, I definitely do not count out, by any stretch of the imagination, App State. Basically, whenever these teams play anybody, I'm always watching them going, even if they don't win, there's probably going to be something on the highlight reel and something to be made interesting. I love covering and watching the Sun Belt. Big shout out to the Sun Belt, and a big shout out to the commissioner of the Sun Belt, who's gotten to spend some time on the show, and I look forward to having him back very soon, Keith Gill. And so here we are with the Saturday games. Let's get into this one. Oh, Ohio State has a tough game. No, hold on. Where is it? They don't have a tough game going on. They have Northwestern going on. Another unranked team for Ohio State. The number 2 ranked team in the country, who's played nobody outside of Oregon. Who the freak makes these AP rankings and coaches polls? If you're not, I mean, to me, look at this, folks. A win over, or I'm sorry, they didn't play Oregon this season. That's my fault. That's my bad. I gave credit where credit was not earned. They beat Notre Dame when Notre Dame shouldn't have been ranked. They beat Arkansas State unranked. Toledo unranked. Wisconsin unranked. Rutgers unranked. Michigan State unranked. Iowa unranked. Penn State that was ranked way too high. And now they have unranked Northwestern, unranked Indiana, unranked Maryland, and a too high-ranked Michigan team for the rest of their schedule. They talk about, oh, you got to beat the teams ahead of you, got to do this or that. Your team, your conference is weak. Excuse me? Excuse me? Penn State is ranked way too high, okay? Now, and Dan, why do you say Penn State's ranked way too high? Well, I'll be happy and more than happy to tell you. They beat unranked Purdue, unranked Ohio, they beat unranked Auburn, unranked Central Michigan, unranked Northwestern, lost to Michigan, unranked Minnesota they beat, and they lost to Ohio State. So they don't have a win against anyone in the top 25. They barely play anybody in the top 25, and they're considered one of the top 13 teams in the country. Get your butt out of here. Okay, I know the Big Ten is physical. I know the Big Ten builds from the inside out. But you show me on paper what Penn State has done against ranked teams to be relevant. Well, I'll tell you, they're 0-2 against them. So, for some odd reason, not only does that put you in the top 25, but it puts you in the top 15. No, it's ridiculous. Ohio State, another unranked team that they get to play against. Oh my gosh, they are being so challenged en route to the Big Ten Championship. And folks, I'm not here again to attack the Big Ten. I would say this about any conference that has a BS schedule. Ohio State has 8 home games out of 12 this year. And they start the season at home, and they end the season at home. It's ridiculous. So Ohio State at Northwestern. I'm picking Ohio State. This is just bogus BS. Number 2 ranked team in the country for beating a bunch of nothing. That's ridiculous. And I'm not trying to disrespect the teams they went up against. They're unranked teams. When you're in the rankings, you're supposed to have played a schedule that supports that, right? And I know that there's not everybody can play a ranked team and this and that, so you got to look at the competitiveness and this, that, and whatever. But the Big Ten, really? You're going to put 3 teams in the top 13, and none of those teams are going to have big-time wins? Sorry, but at this point in the season, we have to start separating who's doing it and who you're pretending is doing it. And the SEC has challenged each other like crazy, like they always do. Ohio State, considered the number 2 team in the nation, to some people the number 1 team in the nation. Show me how they're better than Tennessee. And speaking of Tennessee, let's get into that matchup. Tennessee at Georgia. Well, Tennessee this season, they deserve to be the number 1 ranked team in the country. The College Football Playoff got it right. The AP and the coaches poll was drunk at the wheel and did not put them number 1 all season this season, but the College Football Playoff did. They have defeated Pitt, who is a strong team, whether ranked or unranked. Pitt has been, they hung with Tennessee. Think about that. They beat Tennessee, they lost to Tennessee 34-27. Pitt held them, beat them last year in their house, and then at home at Pitt was down by just 1 score. We saw Tennessee this year defeat LSU, who's been leading the SEC West. They defeated Alabama, who people almost never do, and they blew out Kentucky, who normally plays spoiler. Tennessee has a case. Ohio State just has a lot of people in the right places making decisions to help them out. And so here we are with Georgia and Tennessee. And people are, oh, if Tennessee loses to Georgia, they're not the number 1 ranked team in the nation. Well, if Tennessee loses to Georgia, how about this? I called it before it happened. I said, if and when Penn State loses to Ohio State, they'll consider it a quality loss and they'll barely drop them a few spots. And how many spots did they drop them? 3 freaking spots. 3 spots. That's it. Penn State, a quality loss. So if Tennessee loses to Georgia after beating Alabama, they still have a case that they're the number 1 team in the nation. If you're going to play this Big Ten BS, then you might as well respect the conference that is the best conference in the nation, and that is the SEC. And anybody can fight me on that. It's the truth. The SEC is the best conference in America until they're not. And right now, they are. Tennessee at Georgia. I'm picking Tennessee in this game. I want to see Tennessee get the outright number one spot in every single one of these polls. The college football playoff, dare I say it, got it right, where they've gotten a lot of things wrong in the past, in my opinion. They got it right this time around by putting Tennessee at number one in their first poll, and they deserve to be there. Georgia has put some work in and done some things, but Tennessee, to me, is the number one ranked team in the nation, and hopefully after this weekend, they'll be the outright number one ranked team in the nation, and people will stop pandering to this BS, saying Tennessee and Ohio State are tied for second in the AP. Are you, like, what type of drug are you getting involved with in your town, folks? Let's call a spade a spade. Let's call reality reality. Come back to reality for me. If we saw Tennessee play Ohio State in the college football playoff and they got blasted, then would you shut up? No, because the next preseason ranking would have Ohio State in the top 5 again, because they live in the top 5 no matter what they do. And again, this is not an attack on Ohio State. It's not an attack on the Big Ten. I am saying this because it's unfair. I would say it about Syracuse. I would say it about North Carolina. I would say it about, I think if Syracuse loses this week, they're out of the polls. I told you Syracuse was going to drop 6 spots to 22. I called it. I said they're going to go from 16 to 22. I said that to Isaac. I said they're going to drop from 16 to 22 right after they lost to Notre Dame. Where'd they go? Okay? But I look at rankings in the sense of what you're actually doing and not everybody that likes you and votes for you, okay? Is it a popularity contest or is it the game of football? I'd like to know. Because if it's a popularity contest, then why are we playing the games? Just saying. Next game up that we have to talk about on the docket here, Texas Tech at TCU. I bring this game up because I'm a big TCU fan of what they're doing this season. I think they've been wonderful. I've always been, kind of supporting TCU in the background. Love the Horned Frogs and the logo. And Sonny Dykes, I had him at SMU, and I want to see him succeed, and he has. Looking at Texas Tech this year, they defeated Houston when they were ranked, Texas when they were ranked, and they defeated West Virginia as well as Murray State. So they've played spoiler at times. They lost to Oklahoma State on the road by 10. They got blown out by Baylor, and here is TCU. And TCU is at home. TCU is a team that I think should be ranked higher. They're 8-0. They are 7th in the college football playoff right now, which is good. They defeated Kansas State this season. They defeated Oklahoma State, and they defeated Kansas, and they defeated Oklahoma. They won all 4 of those games in a row, which is very hard to do, and in your conference with teams that know exactly who you are. So credit to, and I know Oklahoma's down this year, but credit to what TCU is doing in Sonny Dykes' initial time at TCU, which is incredible. So Texas Tech going up against TCU. I got TCU going 9-0, and can we move them into the top 6? Can they please get into the top 5? I know you got a spot here for Alabama, right? I know you got a spot waiting. I know Alabama's position at 6 to make a jump at some point. I fully anticipate it and expect it to happen, but we'll see. As TCU, I'm going to pick them to win this game right behind Alabama in the college football playoff poll that came out, the first one that came out this season. Next game that we have up here to get to, and I want to make sure that we don't miss out on some of the ones we've been asked to talk about today. Florida at Texas A&M. You got 2 unranked teams, right? And yet, here's Florida, right? We look at Florida right now. Florida is 4-4. They're still have an opportunity to become bowl eligible. They are second to last in the East Division, led by Georgia, Tennessee, then Kentucky, South Carolina. Missouri is above Florida. That's a horrible thing to hear. And Vanderbilt. Thank goodness Vanderbilt is below Florida, because if they weren't, Papa Joe would probably lose it on the air by all stretches of the imagination. I've never seen PJ mad. I don't want to see him mad. Speaking of mad, Texas A&M is 3-5. They're last in the SEC West. So you got 2 teams at the bottom of their SEC respective divisions, either second to last or last, going up against each other. Texas A&M has been defeated by Appalachian State this season at home. And Florida is coming into town to face off against Texas A&M. PJ, I love you. You know that. But I don't see Texas A&M losing this one at home. I got TAMU winning this game. Texas A&M against Florida. I feel like PJ probably would pick at this point Texas A&M as well. You got 4-4 versus 3-5. So if and when Texas A&M wins this game, both teams will be 4-5. They'll have the same record and still have an opportunity to be bowl eligible. So we shall see what we shall see in this matchup. I'm taking Texas A&M to get the victory here. Next game that we have up to go through on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and my college football Week 10 picks. The next game we're going to go to is going to be, there's so many games I want to look at here. We'll get to Syracuse. Oklahoma State at Kansas. Kansas isn't ranked anymore. Oklahoma State defeated Baylor when Baylor was ranked 36-25 on the road. They had wins against Central Michigan, Arizona State, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. 3 home games. They played 4 of their first 5 at home, defeated Texas Tech 2. So no big whoop on that. They lost to TCU 43-40 in a shootout at Texas Christian. They defeated Texas. Texas was ranked 20th in the country, 41-34, and they just lost to Kansas State, got blown out 48-0. Now they're going to play Kansas in Kansas. And Kansas, folks, is so different. When they say we're not in Kansas anymore, well, how about I flip it to the other way? Kansas is not what they used to be anymore. They're 5-3. They used to be arguably the worst team in Division I FBS college football. Now they're a team that I respect. And they have lost their last 3 in a row. They lost to TCU, at Oklahoma, and at Baylor. So the question is, what's going to happen here? Oklahoma State is still ranked. Kansas is no longer ranked. Kansas is playing at home. Can Oklahoma State get a victory over Kansas on the road? Will it happen? Can it happen? Do you see it happening? And I have to say yes. I'm picking Oklahoma State to win this game on the road at Kansas. I do like what Kansas has done. They're 1 game away from being bowl eligible, but losing 3 straight, Oklahoma State doesn't look great, but I do think they'll be able to beat Kansas in this matchup. I don't see the upset for Kansas, at least for this week. And I have seen other games where I thought they could get it, but I don't see it in this one. And then looking at Kentucky at Missouri. Kentucky is no longer ranked. They were, mind you, folks, ranked in the nation's top 9, if not top 8 this season. They're no longer ranked right now, which is sad to see. Kentucky at Missouri. However, I do see Kentucky winning this game, and they'll eventually get themselves back into the rankings here. I do believe they'll find their way back into the nation's top 25 if they continue to do what needs to be done. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Kentucky in this one on the road at Missouri. And a shout out to Missouri for getting out of the basement of the SEC East, which is a good thing to do, right? Missouri and Vanderbilt are the 2 teams we talk about. We're like, how are these teams, SEC teams, playing the way that they play? But, you know, Kentucky's obviously been doing a little bit better. I got them winning this game. Air Force at Army. I love seeing the military games go on. I had my great uncle Pat in the Air Force. God bless him in heaven. And in the Army, my grandfather, as well as my great uncle Bucky, my great uncle Vincent, God bless them all as well. So thank you for your service, and thank you for being a part of my family and representing us well. I love you all in heaven. Shout out to my Uncle Carmen. Keep saying prayers for Uncle Carmen. He's been fighting the good fight in the hospital, and there was a scare at the beginning of the week, and he's been doing better. By the grace of God, may that continue. I love him dearly. I love my whole family, and I thank him for his service in the Vietnam War as well as World War II in the Navy. So big ups to him. Air Force here, folks. They are 5-3, 1 game away from being bowl eligible, and they have played all unranked teams. They defeat UNLV on the road, Navy and Nevada at home, Colorado and Northern Iowa at home as well. And so we look at that side of it at 5-3, and then we look at the other side of it with Army, and Army is 3-4. Army has wins over Villanova, who is a FCS team, a win over Colgate as well, FCS, and a win over Louisiana Monroe. They're on a 2-game winning streak, Army is, and I think Air Force is going to be too much in this game. Bob Beretta, please forgive me. I have Air Force. I'm not going to tell him I picked it. So I'm picking Air Force in this matchup to win the game. I love the Army-Navy game that always comes up around the time that I go cut my Christmas tree down. So I'm excited for that, but I'm not wishing that on us anytime soon because I believe in enjoying every day and every second, and I'm trying to do a better job of that. So I'm going to pick Air Force to win the matchup in this military battle that we have going on this week. And so next one that we have up here, and I want to make sure, let's see where we had a bunch come in here. So we did Tennessee, Georgia. I picked Tennessee. I picked Texas A&M over Florida for PJ. I picked Oklahoma State over Kansas. So we got a few more games on the docket here that I want to make sure we hit. So the next game I'm going to go to here, Clemson at Notre Dame. Remember the last time Clemson went to Notre Dame? Trevor Lawrence had to sit out because of contact tracing, had to wear a mask, and then the Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans stormed the field without masks on. What an egregious party foul to the pretend world of we're all social distancing and trying to not pass COVID. So Trevor Lawrence's face was priceless and ridiculous that he had to sit there and then all these people are all over each other. Well, we checked everybody coming in. Nobody has COVID. You got 10,000 people. I would think a year where you have a virus going around, running rampant around the world, that would be the year you don't let people rush the field. But you did, and they rushed right by and bumped into Trevor Lawrence. So does that mean he had contact tracing again? Party foul, Notre Dame. And Clemson, I mean, I just remember watching that site and seeing the pile of people, and I took a picture of it, and I was like, so this is social distancing? I guess you only have to social distance depending on who you are. So Clemson at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got to win over Syracuse. Clemson's got to win over Syracuse. The two teams that beat Syracuse in back-to-back weeks are playing each other. How ironic. And Clemson has an opportunity to make a statement because, believe it or not, even though Notre Dame is not ranked in the nation's top 25, Clemson is going to need this win in order to tell the College Football Playoff Committee they deserve to be in. Why do you think that, Dan? Why do they have to beat an unranked team? Because, folks, it's not about what you do this season. As we've learned, it's about, in these polls, who you beat, what their fan base is, how much pull they got, how much money they have. So you got to beat Notre Dame if you're Clemson to make a statement. I believe they do and stay undefeated as they move forward. They got to put big bodies up against big bodies, and we'll see what it looks like here. But I have this victory going in favor of the Clemson Tigers, although I'm a little concerned about this Notre Dame matchup. Not going to lie, I definitely am. LSU went from unranked to number 10 in the country, and I said they should shoot up the polls because they're leading the SEC West. How are they not ranked? Now they're number 10 in the country, and that deserves something else. As I've been hitting this button all too much, they deserve this. LSU up against Alabama at home. This is a statement to be made. If Alabama, I said before, Alabama is the only team that can lose 2 games in a regular season and still make the college football playoff. Well, that might be on full effect display this year. But see, the difference is if Tennessee keeps winning, somebody's going to lose the Tennessee-Georgia game. But if Tennessee wins all but one, right? They deserve to be in. If Tennessee somehow loses to Georgia and they put in Alabama over Tennessee, who beat Alabama straight up, that is a massive conspiracy that we all need to call out. Because Alabama, mind you, a few years ago, made the college football playoff after not playing in the SEC championship. Auburn and Georgia played in the SEC championship, and Alabama got to go to the college football playoff. And Auburn that year beat Georgia and Alabama. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. So if Tennessee beats Georgia and Alabama, watch it, folks. And if Tennessee somehow loses to Georgia, watch it, folks, because Alabama is 6 and very well could jump into 4 after this week if Tennessee loses, which I think is ridiculous because they beat Alabama. But we shall see. What should happen is, well, I mean, in all honesty, I think at this point you keep Tennessee and Georgia in the top 4, even if Georgia loses, if it's a close game. If it's a blowout, then no. But I don't think you drop Tennessee out of the top 4 even if they lose, because I guess it's contingent on what Alabama does to LSU to a certain effect. But if you're going to put Ohio State in there for doing nothing, then I don't believe Tennessee deserves to be out if they beat Alabama but lose to Georgia. So we shall see. I will make my cases as we go, and I've already stated them. Alabama at LSU, what do I have for this one? Well, gee darn it, folks, I said Alabama, in my opinion, is the only team that can lose 2 games in a season and still make the college football playoff. They've already lost a game at Tennessee, 52-49 in a shootout. And now they're playing LSU. And LSU, folks, is leading the SEC West. They are 2 above. Right now, they're above Ole Miss and they're above Alabama. Why are they above Ole Miss and Alabama, Dan? Well, they have yet to play Ole Miss. But overall, they are in the lead of the West. If they already beat Alabama, if they beat Ole Miss, they hold the tiebreaker over those 2 teams, and LSU might be going to the SEC championship game to play Georgia or Tennessee. Believe it or not, in Brian Kelly's first year. Shout out to Brian Kelly. A lot of people wanted to fire him a few years ago at Notre Dame. Look at what the man is doing now. They have won 6 of their last 7 games. The only loss that LSU had in between all this was also to Tennessee. Do you see a pattern? Tennessee beating the best teams in the SEC. So, just saying. They also lost to Florida State 24-23 at the beginning of the season. So, here we are, LSU, prime for an upset. Are they? I'm going to go with Alabama in this game. However, if LSU wins, LSU is making a case for themselves as a 2-loss team to creep a little bit higher in the top 10. I don't think you can put them in the college football playoff with 2 losses. That, to me, would be ridiculous. However, I do think that the committee would at least consider that with Alabama, because people were trying to make a case that Notre Dame should have gotten in last year over Cincinnati after losing to Cincinnati. Well, that was the game where there was mashed potatoes served in the cafeteria, and I don't think the mashed potatoes gravy was right, and I think some of the guys had a stomachache. Shut your mouth. They got beat by Cincinnati. Walk the plank, okay? When you beat the team when you beat a team head to head, there's no conversation. That's the one time where you never have to figure out a tiebreaker. There is no conversation. Why is this team higher than the other team in the rankings? Because they beat them. Period. Now, if Cincinnati's 4-8 and Notre Dame was 11-1, then yeah, Cincinnati shouldn't be higher. But if you're talking about 2 teams, one team with 1 loss and one team undefeated, and the 1 loss Notre Dame has is to the team that's undefeated, there's no contest, okay? Not at all, not even close. I love what I'm seeing from Illinois and Tommy DeVito. Man, didn't I say he's in the Big Ten? He's got an offensive line to protect him. He's a pocket passer. I think this dude's going to be all right. Now, granted, Illinois has not had a difficult schedule, cut and paste, for pretty much every Big Ten team that we could talk about here. So Illinois has played all unranked teams, only losing to Indiana 23-20. So their loss is by 3 points this season. They've beaten Wyoming at home, Virginia at home, Chattanooga at home, at Wisconsin, Iowa at home, Minnesota at home, at Nebraska. They are going up against Michigan State this weekend. The Fighting Illini are, and I'm riding high with Tommy DeVito. I'm picking Illinois to win this game and to continue to impress. They have been so, I'm just happy that they're bowl eligible. Are they a team that has had a tough schedule? No, but they beat the teams in front of them, right? So I can't sit here and say, well, Illinois deserves to be in the nation's top 10 if I'm saying Ohio State doesn't. I can't say that. What I can say is I'm happy that Tommy DeVito gets to go to a bowl game as the leader of this team in his season moving over to Illinois. I'm picking Illinois to win this matchup. Illinois right now, folks, really, really super proud of them. They're 7-1. I think they're going to be 8-1. How about that? Tommy DeVito leaves Syracuse and he could end up being on a 10-win team, if not more. Pretty incredible, pretty amazing. Shout out to Tom Sr., Lexi, and the fam. God bless to you all. God is great. I'm happy things worked out. I've constructively criticized Tommy over time. I'm happy that he's on a team where it seems like he's been flourishing better than Syracuse. He found the right fit. That sometimes doesn't happen the first time, and I'm really happy for him and happy for all he's done. God bless, and to the entire team, because it's not all done with Tommy. So God bless to everybody. UTSA and UAB. Texas San Antonio is 6-2. Conference USA's final season, they're going to be there. Then they're joining the American. Very excited for that. Love having them on the show, including their leader, Lisa Campos, of the athletic department. So looking at this right now, they lost to Houston when Houston was ranked 37-35 at the beginning of the season, and that was at home, UTSA. They defeated Army on the road. They lost to Texas, who was ranked on the road. Beat Texas Southern, won at Middle Tennessee up against Scott Schaefer and the crew. Defeated Western Kentucky at home, defeated FIU on the road, and defeated North Texas at home. UAB, so that's UTSA, two of my favorite logos in the entire soon-to-be American Athletic Conference expansion here. I love UAB's Blazer logo. I love UTSA's Roadrunner logo. UAB defeated Alabama A&M at home to start the season, lost to Liberty 21-14 on the road. Georgia Southern at home got a win. Lost to Rice. Big shout out to Rice. Hasn't been a D1 football team in a long time. Or I should say hasn't been a D1 team for a long time. Not in a long time, for a long time. 28-24 at Rice. They lost that game. Shout out to Rice for getting a dub on that, especially against UAB, who's a good team. And then at Middle Tennessee, they defeated them at home 41-14. Defeated Charlotte 34-20. Another team that hasn't been a D1 FBS football team, D1A FBS football team for a long time. And then they lost their last two at Western Kentucky, 20-17, at FAU, 24-17. FAU also going to be joining the American Athletic, and so is North Texas. They have LSU on the schedule. Second to last game of the season, UAB at LSU. Really excited to see this. I'm going to have UAB in. See, this is tough. UAB is 4-4. UTSA is So this is a really tough game because I was leaning toward UAB, and now I'm sitting here looking at this, saying to myself, UAB is at home, UTSA is on the road, and I think UTSA has a good shot of winning this game. So this one's going to be close. It's going to be close. I'm going to pick UAB at home. But I expect this to potentially be an instant classic. I'm hoping. I'm going to pick UAB at home. I'm going to go with UAB. So UAB, that was probably like the toughest game I've had to pick. I did the Tennessee Georgia game real quick. So, but yeah, this. We shall see what we shall see, right? Next game that we have up here, a lot of great games. Texas at Kansas State. Texas is back ranked at 24 in the college football playoff poll, and Kansas State is number 13. Texas this season, we've taken a look at some of their schedule. They lost to Alabama 20-19. What a game for them. Alabama, and that was at home in Texas. Alabama ranked number 1 at the time. Second week of the season, they played each other. They lost to the other ranked team that they played, which was Oklahoma State, number 11th ranked team at Oklahoma State, 41-34. Everybody else they played has been unranked. They defeated Louisiana Monroe, UTSA, West Virginia, Oklahoma. God bless me, allergies, and Iowa State. And all of those games that they've won this season have been at home. So Texas has not won a road game this season. Kansas State is right behind TCU, and TCU took them down. Kansas State, to me, Kansas State, they have a win at Oklahoma when Oklahoma was ranked, and Oklahoma State, they defeated them 48-0 at home this past week. They did lose 38-28 at TCU, but overall here they do have wins on the road. Texas has no wins on the road. And so Kansas State has shown me they can do it in both places. They happen to be at home in this game, and I believe that K-State, the only thing in front of K-State right now is TCU. Literally. They are the one in front of them in the Big 12 at this current moment. So I'm picking Kansas State at home to get the victory. You know, I think this might be a good game to watch. I think this is one you might need to DVR and go back and check it out if you don't watch it live. But I'm going to go ahead and pick K-State in this matchup to win the game. And let's see here. So Syracuse, obviously I'm going to make that my last pick as I typically do. So looking at a few other games here, Wake Forest at NC State, a team that's yet to play Syracuse in Wake Forest, and a team that Syracuse defeated to become bowl eligible in NC State, 21-22. Here we go. Wake Forest has only lost 2 games this season. One of them to Clemson, 51-45 in extra time, in overtime, and they lost to Louisville, who's been coming up here lately. What did I tell you? When Louisville plays at home, they're a pain in the tush to play. What did I say about Syracuse? The best thing about playing Louisville is they're playing them the first game of the season. Because playing them later, I think, is worse, and playing them at Louisville it has been almost a 0% chance of Syracuse winning. And here's Louisville beating Wake Forest, unranked Louisville beating Wake Forest, who's been in the top 25 all season, and they beat them 48-21. They blew them out. And yet Wake Forest is still the 21 ranked team in the nation. I thought this one might have been a huge knock on Wake Forest. NC State, because you lose to Clemson, and, they consider that potentially a quality loss, which is, like the Ohio State-Penn State thing. The difference between Ohio State and Clemson, I know that Ohio State beat Clemson in most recent history, but that was at a time when Ohio State played 6 weeks into the season, got to have all that extra rest, got to come in ranked in the nation's top 10 before they played a game, got to have a special rule done so that they could play in the Big Ten Championship, and had a special rule done so they could get everybody healthy for the college football playoff. So once again, preferential treatment en route to Ohio State beating Clemson. It wasn't like they just beat them. They beat them with a lot of help and a lot of unnecessary, ridiculous help that other people would never receive. So on the NC State side, they did beat them head-to-head, Ohio State did, but let's look at the road that they got there. And it's like, oh, that wasn't fair, that wasn't fair, that wasn't fair, and oh, there they are. They shouldn't even have been in the college football playoff. They didn't play enough games. Anywho, here we are with Clemson on the road. NC State on the road at Clemson. Lost the game 30-20. It was close until it wasn't. Later on in the second half, it was a game, and then Clemson was able to just open the door and do enough, and they lost at Syracuse 24-9. That's NC State's only 2 losses of the season. NC State is at home. Both teams are 6-2, and I believe in NC State in this game. I think NC State is going to get the best of Wake Forest at home here. I'm going to give them a slight edge. I respect both of these teams, and I talk with both of these Daves. Dave Doran of NC State, Dave Clausen of Wake Forest. I respect them both. I appreciate them both, and they know that. And I would like to think that they know that, as I've had the opportunity on and off the air to talk with these gentlemen. I'm going to pick NC State, but please know, Mr. Clausen, that you have my full attention and respect, and you've had it for a long time. And I'm happy that the nation's started to give that to you, because I gave it to you many years ago when I thought you deserved it back then. So thank you for the work that you're doing and everything you put forward. Florida State at Miami. I got to have fun with this one. The battle for Florida, right? So you got 5-3 Florida State trying to become bowl eligible, and this is what shows you that preseason polls can be BS. Miami was ranked in the nation's top 15. Miami lost, and they stayed in the top 15. So kind of ridiculous here. They lost to Texas A&M, and they kept them up there. They defeated Bethune-Cookman and Southern Miss to start off the season. They lost to Middle Tennessee at home 45-31 by multiple scores. Miami, though, is in third place in the Coastal Division of the ACC. And you have Florida State in third place of the Atlantic Division at 5-3. The game is down at Coral Gables, but I got FSU winning this matchup. I told you, give Mike Norvell time, and he will build something special at Florida State. And look at them in third place behind Clemson and Syracuse. Florida State is there. Big game, setting up a very big game coming up when Syracuse has its final home game of the season on Saturday, November 12th, next week, when they take on Florida State. Because if Syracuse defeats Pittsburgh and Florida State defeats Miami, both of those games being the road teams for these teams respectively, if Florida State and Syracuse went on the road, that'll set up a game that has all too much of an implication of what the rest of the season can look like. Because if Syracuse would be 4-1 in the conference, so they would still have the lead over Florida State no matter what. But Syracuse is the keeper of their own destiny. They're the only team besides Clemson that has 1 loss or less in the Atlantic Division of the ACC. And they're one of 3 teams out of all 14 in the ACC that have 1 loss or less in the conference. North Carolina's 4-0, Clemson 6-0, and Syracuse is 3-1, to make a note of that. So good stuff for Syracuse, and showing that this has been a really good season for them, no matter what anybody says. Those Debbie Downers, don't listen. Be the positive comment that you need today. Don't wait for somebody to give it to you. Let's make sure we hit on it. Before I hit Syracuse-Pittsburgh, I'm going to go back and look here. Greg had asked us to do a couple. Did I hit them all? Let's see. Yes, I did. So, Syracuse at Pittsburgh. Let's do that game. Syracuse at Pitt, because then we got to get to my NFL games. Syracuse at Pitt here. They have Israel Abanikanda, and this guy is just playing out of his mind. He's got 4 games to go, and he's already 1,000-yard back. That does not bode well for a Syracuse team that did not stop the run against Notre Dame. We're looking at Israel Abanikanda, who currently right now has 1,086 yards, 183 carries, 5.9 yards a carry. His longest rush is for 80 yards, and he has 16 rushing touchdowns this season. Stop it. You know? What? This man's got some Madden numbers. He's going crazy out there. And he's got 4 games to play. Syracuse, who showed that they couldn't really stop the run, so that's a tantalizing game for him. Then he's at Virginia, who's not good this year. They got Duke at home, who's been able to score. We'll see what they could do. And at Miami, this man could end the season with 1,400 to 1,500 yards, and he might get a bunch of those yards against Syracuse. Folks, I told you, I love the Syracuse Orange. It is my hometown, but I am an impartial broadcaster, and if you don't stop the run against Notre Dame, I do not think Syracuse is going to stop the run against a 1,000-yard, 16-touchdown back with 4 games to play. I'm going with Abanikanda and Pittsburgh to win this game. Much respect to Pat Narduzzi, as I've spoken with him since right after he got hired. So, big fan of Pat Narduzzi and the work that he's doing. I know Pitt's not having the season that they necessarily wanted to have, right? They're 4-4 right now. However, they did go to overtime against Tennessee, which says a lot about them. I don't think Syracuse is on Tennessee's level. I don't think many are. And I think that Pittsburgh has shown that the last 2 years they've been on that level. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Pittsburgh to win this game. That rushing attack alone makes me nervous. And that Pitt is at home. And that Pitt plays, they can play you in a 17-9 game like they can play you in a 45-31 game. I mean, they can score or they cannot score. Their defense can show up. Pittsburgh has too much to offer. I know they lost to Georgia Tech right after Georgia Tech fired their AD and head coach, and that game was at home in Pittsburgh. I know that was a blemish, and those games happen from time to time, but I don't see Pittsburgh losing this game to Syracuse. They're at home. I believe Dino Babers reminded us that he's never won there at the time that he's been at Syracuse. So there's something to be said about the history between him and Pat Narduzzi, what Doozer's been able to do, and Doozer's a bruiser, and Pittsburgh runs the ball, and Pittsburgh knows without Kenny Pickett, what are they going to do? I don't know, give the ball to the 1,000-yard back and play really heavy defense and harass the hell out of Syracuse. I think Syracuse is going to struggle in this game. It may not be pretty, and I'm picking Pittsburgh to win it at home. And here I am thinking that I got out of it, and we got one more game to be chosen. UCF at Memphis. Man, I'm just kidding. I love picking these games, and I love my American Athletic Conference. It is an honor and a privilege to have covered them since before they had a logo or a name for their conference. UCF at Memphis. All right, folks, here we go with this matchup. Coming up here, this game is going to be UCF. I said they'd be ranked. I said they beat Cincinnati. I said Cincinnati will be out because they were 21 at the time. And I said UCF will get in at 25. I said I think UCF will get in. They did. So UCF is ranked 25th in the nation right now in the college football poll and in other polls. I think in all 3 polls they're 25th. So they'll be playing at Memphis on ESPN2 at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. What does it take to get on ESPN2? Because Syracuse never gets on these ESPNs. They're on ACC Network every mother freaking game, pretty much, it feels like. But here's UCF at Memphis. Y'all should be watching this. They just defeated Cincinnati 25-21 at home. UCF is 6-2, bowl eligible, and nobody talks about UCF. And nobody talks about 7-1 Tulane, who's 4-0 in the American Athletic Conference right now. Why aren't people talking about these teams? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF are all leaving the conference. Cincinnati's having an okay year at 6-2 themselves, 3-1 in the conference. Their only losses to UCF, which is why they're third in the standings in the American. And Houston is also 3-1 and 5-3 overall. So, UCF at Memphis. Where does Memphis stand, Dan? Well, Memphis, folks, is 4-4. I think they'll get to a bowl this year. They got a game against UCF at home, Tulsa at home, North Alabama at home, and at SMU. I can see that Tulsa and North Alabama game getting them to 6-6. UCF at Memphis, folks. Wow, this is a game, and we got NFL talent all over thanks to the programs of UCF and Memphis, and I'm going with the Knights. I'm picking UCF on the road to take this game. UCF at Memphis. Respect them both. Love them both. Appreciate them both. And I am going to go with Gus Malzahn and the UCF Knights in this matchup over Ryan Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. With that being said, we're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break. When Wake Up Call comes back, we will have the opportunity to give you my NFL picks for Week 9 as I'll go down the board. Lots of great games. I love when college football presents to us so many games that it takes me, almost an hour to go through these. So happy to do it. We're going to the NFL right after this. Inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning here on Wake Up Call. These Cafe Kubal Studios proudly are the home of the show that you are with every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, hanging out here on Facebook.com as well as YouTube.com and MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT is where you'll find us worldwide, as well as on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. Greg said legit quality and competitive college football games this week. A lot fell into place this week. Yeah, man. You never know. You always, sports does that every year without fail. And I love it. And I do. I love it. And I thank God for it, right? That it's so cool and so amazing when we get to see these things just fall together, just fall into our laps, right? And like Tennessee, Georgia at this time in the season, right? And these teams that are bowl eligible fighting. There's a bunch of games that I talked about that have like divisional implications, conference implications, college football playoff implications. I love it. It's such an awesome thing when we get to see all this come together. Greg said, wish we would have got PJ's take on the combined World Series no-hitter last night. Yeah, so definitely we will get PJ's take next week, and I'll make sure we open up that to PJ. He always has a place here on the show, and I love my other dad dearly. So very thankful to have two dads in my life. Shout out to Ralph and shout out to PJ. So it is now time for us inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios in Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street as well, and those are all in Syracuse. 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. Cafe Kubal, thank you for being a proud studio partner, and thank you for everybody that's out there supporting local and supporting our community. If you're outside the community, you can go to cafekubal.com and support them there. CafeKubal.com. Have them shipped right to you. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Speaking of supporting local, you go to maandpa'spopcorn.com and get your popcorn ready. And that is the time for us here in the studio to pop this open live for the first time ever and to get my popcorn ready. Ooh, look at that. What do we got here? We have Jaguars colors. We got some teal look in here. We got some teal look in here. And we have the goldish over on the other side, and it is time to get your popcorn ready. So good. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. They have all the teams. All the teams. Now, you see that my tin is separated into two. You can take any size of their tins, and this is like a smaller one. You can get a huge one. Any one of the tins you get half price refills for the rest of your life. So you go on there, you go in and get kettle corn, popcorn, whatever it is, 50 different flavors at any given time. You walk into Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And with one of their tins that they have here, right? One of their beauties. And you get half price refills for the rest of your life. So worth it. So good. They have all the teams. So you can go into Ma and Pa's, say, I want half price refills for the rest of my life, pick out the tin, and then slap your team's logo on it. So, of course, I got my Jags and didn't even realize I kind of did the teal and gold. Got some blue raspberry. Got some cheddar. I normally don't eat on the air. It's been something I really haven't done much, maybe less than a handful of times. My entire 19 years in broadcasting, but this is a special occasion because it's time to get your popcorn ready for NFL Week 9. And it's time for you to get over to Mon Paz and find your favorite team. And baseball, whatever. They have baseball teams, they have football teams. Go out there and slap your logo on there of your favorite team and get half-price refills for the rest of your life. And have the perfect couch buddy when you're watching the games. So, let's get into the NFL. I did my fantasy, and you can go and check out all my fantasy content, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe while you're there. And on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. My video for this week in fantasy is already up and waiting for you for Thursday Night Football, Sunday, all throughout the day, Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. So let's get into the NFL. Philadelphia at Houston, folks. What do I have for Philadelphia at Houston? I believe that the Eagles are going to stay undefeated on the road, and I am picking Philly in this matchup to win the game, and Philly going to 8-0 on the season. Just an incredible, incredible season. So with the Eagles at the Texans, I'm going with the Eagles to get this victory. And the Eagles going to be flying high, getting their popcorn ready. We got some Eagles fans in the community. Get out and get your refillable tin at Mon Paz Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory while you watch this victory. And Philly, if and when you do beat Houston, as a Jaguars fan, I thank you for the help. So, much appreciation. Sometimes you help people by accident. Los Angeles Chargers at the Atlanta Falcons. The Chargers are all types of injured right now, and that has got me feeling not great about them in it. They do have fantasy value, but who the hell is Justin Herbert going to throw to is a big question. Austin Eckler, they might stack the box, but we know that Austin Eckler can get out in space and receive the ball. He might be the best receiver on the team this week. I am going with the Falcons at home. Just, too many injuries, and the Falcons being at home. I know the Falcons can score, and they've done better than I anticipated they would do. The Chargers right now going through the injuries they're going through. I got to pick Atlanta in this moment to get the victory at home. So going with ATL Living. The next game we have up here is going to be, and that started off Sunday, and then Miami at Chicago. I told you, if Tua's healthy, arguably this team would be an undefeated team. And what has Tua shown you? He has shown you that those words that I said, he has done right with those words. Tua, when he is healthy, when he is out there, when he is the quarterback this season, the Dolphins are doing a very good job. And speaking from Lemoyne to Miami, these Dolphins just keep swimming as well. I'm picking Miami to continue to win. And it's sad that they potentially could, like Philadelphia, be an undefeated team. But stuff happens with injury. Yet Miami right now is 5-3. 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season at the Bengals, at the Jets, home against the Vikings. Defeated the Steelers at home, the Lions on the road. They defeated the Bills, and they defeated the Ravens on the road and the Patriots at home. Think about that. Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills, folks, have one loss this season, and that's to your Miami Dolphins. So, just to make note of that, because Buffalo is pushing toward a Super Bowl. And if you go back and say, oh, wow, they made it to the Super Bowl that year that they had one loss, and that loss was to Miami, pretty crazy. And pretty amazing because Miami has the only undefeated season in the history of the NFL. So that's also pretty cool, too. Next game we have up here, Carolina at Cincinnati. Cincinnati has proven that they cannot stop you on defense, right? I needed Joe Burrow to get possession. I needed the Bengals to force a punt in the last 3 minutes of the Monday night game against the Browns and get the ball. One time, I was down by 1 point, and I had Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon. I literally needed either one of them to get me 2 points. and they never got the ball back. On the other side of it, P.J. Walker, I've been singing his praises when he was talked about him when he was at Temple, sang his praises in the XFL, in the former iteration of the XFL, and I sang his praises last season, and I sang his praises this season, and I said I think he should be the starter, and he's done himself a nice job. I'm going with the Panthers on the road for this so far. And I want to make a note here when I say he's done a nice job. Well, Dan, back it up. Okay, happy to. P.J. Walker this season, in the games that he's quarterbacked, he won that game against Tampa Bay. Now, he only threw 6 passes in a loss to San Francisco early in the season. And he had 6 passes. And then he had 16 in a loss at the Rams. And then he aided the team the day before Halloween to go up against Atlanta on the road, force overtime, go into overtime and lost by a field goal. Right? And it becomes a kicker's game in regular season overtime. So, shout out to P.J. Walker. Look, as the starter, these last couple games, defeats Tampa Bay 21-3. They win that game at home in Carolina. And then on the road, forced overtime with Atlanta. I got the Panthers in this matchup. I hope Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon can score for me, but I'm going with the Panthers in this game. So, we'll see. Normally, Cincinnati, I'll go with them, and then I won't. And that's the game they blow up and they score all these points. Like, really, Dan? You didn't think Cincinnati, but they don't play defense. Green Bay at Detroit. Detroit lost T.J. Hockenson. Jamal Williams has been doing good work. Give credit where credit is due. And again, it's never a witch hunt. I didn't believe in Jamal Williams in fantasy in Green Bay, because Aaron Jones was in front of him. And before that, he had a 1-2 punch with somebody else, and I just didn't think that it was good. I didn't think it produced a lot in fantasy. But I respect what he's been doing now. I appreciate Greg for pointing it out. However, I'm picking Green Bay on the road in this game. I'm just not liking what Detroit's been putting together. And Detroit right now is what, 1-6? With an opportunity at having the number 1 pick, which is maybe what they want. We'll see. Indianapolis at New England. This game is fugly. So, it's a fugly game. It really is. I'm going to go with the Patriots at home in this matchup. This game to me is just fugly. And, I want to be like, oh, Patriots, because Colts have been struggling and Jonathan Taylor's been struggling at times and he's not 100%. And, so you look at this and say, but at the same time, here are the Patriots on the other side of things, and the Patriots have looked ugly as well. So I'm going with the Patriots here at home. An uncharacteristic game against Chicago. They played all 3 of their quarterbacks this season. We'll see if they can get work done. I got New England for the NFL Week 9. Buffalo at the Jets. Well, the Jets just had themselves a bad week at home against the Patriots, losing 22-17. Now they got to host the team that I think is going to make it to the Super Bowl. It was my preseason prediction to go there. So I'm going with the Bills on the road at the Jets. Got to go there. And keep in mind, they don't have Breece Hall. God bless him. May he get better. And everybody else that's injured, may they get better too. I'm going with Buffalo in this matchup to take care of business on the road at the Jets and continue to have 1 loss on their season coming from Miami. In Miami. Next game we have up here, Minnesota at Washington. Well, Minnesota has come to light, right? At the beginning of the season, we were kind of scratching our heads going, why are all these fantasy studs duds to start off the season? And now Minnesota is commanding. Minnesota, one of the best teams in the country, overshadowed by Philadelphia being undefeated in the NFC. But Minnesota is 6-1 on the season. They've defeated the Packers at home, lost to the Eagles, the undefeated team, the only loss they have this season, 24-7 on the road. Defeated the Lions, the Saints, the Bears, oh my, at home. Beat the Dolphins on the road and defeated the Cardinals as well. So in a 34-28 game this past week. I have Lake Minnetonka taking care of the Commanders in this game. I'm not too worried about this at all, and so I'm definitely going Lake Minnetonka on this one. I have to, right? You know what I mean? I mean, how could you go anywhere else in this? So I'm picking Minnesota over the Commanders in this matchup. And the next one that we have coming up here, folks, is going to be Las Vegas at Jacksonville. So I got my popcorns ready. Now, Vegas, Devontae's supposed to play. Renfro's supposed to play. Waller is hurt. And they just had a really bad game recently. But Jacksonville has a lot of talent, and they played pretty crappy. Vegas is 2-5. Jacksonville is 2-6. I'm going to give the Jaguars a slight edge at home to take care of business over the weekend. I'm going to pick Jacksonville to win this game against the Raiders and try and get on the right side of things and build up that locker room a little bit here that's needed some help and a little bit of oomph. They got some positive guys there, some faith-filled guys, and I love it. And hopefully that faith, that trust in each other can turn into something special. Because I've been into many Jaguars locker rooms over the last decade plus. And I've seen a lot of locker rooms with low morale and lack of cohesiveness and just kind of shut down. And I don't want to see that ever again to any team, especially not the team that I've supported my whole life and the team that I cover most of my career and, you know, the team whose guys I really get to know. I don't want to see them disband and break apart. So stay together, guys. You're going to get through this. Seahawks at the Cardinals. The Seahawks at the Cardinals in this matchup. I'm going with the Seahawks. They have done better than I thought they were going to do. Geno Smith has been fantastic. He made me eat my words at the end of last season. I thought he might do that this season, and he's done that even more so. I am somebody who can admit when I'm wrong. Geno, you have proven you are an NFL quarterback, and you've done a nice job. So congratulations to you. God bless, and I hope you keep it going. I'm always happy to see people succeed, even if it proves me wrong. Los Angeles at Tampa Bay. Well, these are two teams that we thought would be better at this time of year, didn't we? The Rams coming in and facing off against the Bucs. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay because they're at home. But I don't like the way the Rams have been playing. I know Cooper Kupp hasn't been 100% when he was. Still wasn't working. And the Bucs have not looked good. But I'm going to pick Tampa being at home. Tennessee at Kansas City. We got a good Sunday night and a good Monday night football this week, right? Finally. So here we are with Tennessee at Kansas City. Tennessee Titans at the Kansas City Chiefs. They got Dontrell Hilliard, who I am so proud of, who's already getting some action, the future of the Titans, but also the now. Because how do you keep a guy like that off the field if you look at his collegiate numbers? And then here we are with the guy in front of him, Derrick Henry, one of the best backs in the NFL currently and could go down as one of the best backs in history. I'm going to pick Kansas City in this game. This might be a high-scoring game. I wouldn't be surprised if one team gets into the low 30s and another team is left in the 20s. I got Kansas City winning the matchup. Next, Monday night game, Baltimore at New Orleans. Well, this game is setting up to be a good one with a lot of fantasy value. I'm going to pick the Ravens on the road to take care of it. The Ravens have had a lot of injuries to the backfield. The Ravens haven't played great, but the Ravens are still a force, and I think people have overlooked the Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens probably love that. I'm picking Baltimore on the road over New Orleans to take care of business. Keep in mind, folks, you're playing fantasy. Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, the New York Giants, Pittsburgh, and San Francisco are all off this week, so do not put any of those players out there unless you'd like it to be to your demise. We'll take a final step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, we'll talk about what's going on with high school football in our community, and of course, we'll talk about Major League Baseball with the World Series tied 2 games apiece, knowing that no matter what, we're going to Game 6. So very excited about this. Inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, this is Wake Up Call, where sports meets that thing called life. And I can't thank you enough for spending some bonus time with us today as we continue the conversation in a jam-packed Wake Up Call broadcast right here with you on a beautiful morning, living a beautiful life with wonderful people. I hope you're doing the same.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Q's, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York. Coming to you, fall 2022. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So proud to be here with you every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Under promise, over deliver. We are going extra time on Wake Up Call today inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal located on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York, as well as on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse at their drive-thru. And you can find them as well by going to 343 Fayette Street to what I call the Manlius Welcome Center in Manlius, New York. Their double-decker cafe, giant brown stripe building. You can't miss it, so make sure you head out there today. Speaking on some high school football
in the community, folks. I am so happy that we have the opportunity to talk about high school football and that I get to talk about teams that I am so incredibly blessed to be able to cover. And so, I've had the opportunity here in Central and Upstate New York to be around some wonderful, wonderful programs. And this weekend, we're going to have the opportunity to talk about these teams and talk about what they're doing and everything that they have going forward. I am ecstatic. I really am, to be able to do this and to discuss where the teams are at and what's going on. So as we take a look at this and what's been happening here with each of these teams and what's going on and the playoff matchups and the brackets and everything, it is my honor to jump into this and discuss this with you. So looking at Section 3 football first here in New York State, it's going to be awesome, right? This week it's going to be awesome. Tonight, I have an incredible honor by hanging out with the Beeville Bees football team again. We did a show during the season. We got another. Send off your Beeville Bees on the eve of their game with some love, positivity, cheers, and goodness. The Beeville Bees will take on CNS tomorrow, Friday, November 4th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Cicero, North Syracuse. Make sure you don't miss out on going to that game. Friday, November 4th, 6:30 p.m. Beeville at CNS in the semifinal round of the Section 3 Class AA playoffs. Don't want to miss it for high school football. We'll be with the Beeville Bees tonight and hang out with them, talk about the upcoming matchup, talk about the win they had over Rome Free Academy, what they're looking forward to, what they learned, and we'll get to know them as well in rapid fire as we put each other on the hot seat. Head coach Carl Sanfilippo is going to be there, and I have the opportunity to meet up and welcome to the stage different players than we had last time. So we get to learn more about these guys. We have Griffin Killian, tight end and defensive end, Toby McIntyre, a safety, and Jack Boslett, an that we have in the center position on the offensive line. So very happy to welcome Toby, Jack, and Griffin for the first time, and to have Carl Sanfilippo, the head coach, back in action. All the families are invited. Everyone's invited from Beeville. Let's pack the pub as we always do at Pizza Man. We look forward to seeing you there tonight, Thursday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. is when the broadcast starts. And if you're out of town on YouTube and Facebook.com where you are right now, you'll be able to hear from us and interact with us on YouTube and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. We look forward to seeing you all out there, 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, at Pizza Man tonight with the Beeville Bees as we get them set on the eve of their game to jump into their semifinals and give them a positive and uplifting send-off. So excited for that. And tomorrow as well at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, CBA will take on Utica Proctor at home for the rights to go to the championship game in the semifinal round as well. So I want to congratulate those teams and get us into the next thing here, which is Section 3 Class A and what's going on with them. So we have FM, the number 1 seed, taking on the number 4 seed in New Hartford this Friday at 7 p.m. at FM. And then also this Friday, West Genesee will be going and traveling to Whitesboro with the opportunity to move on. West Genesee, the 3 seed, up against Whitesboro, the 2 seed. So another team I cover very closely, and a team that I had on site, on location, on stage at the Wildcat Sports Pub. The first show I ever did with the Wildcats at the Wildcat on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus was with Joe Corley and his football team. And the latest show that we just did was with Joe Corley and his football team. And I look forward to Joe Corley and his football team putting up a great show against Whitesboro. And God willing, we got a championship game in Section A to talk about with those Wildcats, hopefully at the Wildcat. Section 3 Class B that we have here, Indian River, number 1 seed up against Central Valley Academy, number 5 seed this Friday at 7 p.m. at Indian River. And then we have number 3 Camden going to number 2 Homer this Friday at 7 p.m. as well. For Section 3 Class C, we're going to have coming up this week in their bracket, their semifinal round. Number 1, Adirondack playing up against number 5, Holland Patton, and that game is going to be played at CNS this Saturday, November 5th. Also at CNS, we have General Brown, number 3 seed going up against 2-seeded Cazenovia, and that game is going to be at 2 p.m., and the game Adirondack and Holland Patton is going to be at 11 a.m. So this Saturday, if you're looking for some football, CNS is going to be hosting the semifinal round of the Section 3 Class C playoffs for high school football. Section D is going to be at Central Valley Academy, as we have Dolesville, the number 1 seed, take Mount Markham, the number 5 seed, at 6 p.m. this Friday. And then we'll see Little Falls, number 3 seed, up against Beaver River, number 2 seed, at Adirondack High School. And that game is going to be at 6 p.m. this Friday. So that's Class D. And then we get into Section 3 8-man and their sectional championships. Bishop Grimes, my mom's alma mater, has an opportunity in the semifinals here. And we have Sequoia Valley High School is going to be hosting number 1 seeded Morrisville Eaton against 4 seeded West Canada Valley. And then that same high school will host number 3 seeded Bishop Grimes up against number 2 seeded Frankfurt Schuyler. And they'll be playing up against each other in that'll be this weekend once again, football. And Friday, November 4th, both of these games at Sequoia Valley High School. We have 4:30 for the first game, Morrisville Eaton and West Canada Valley, and 7 p.m. for Bishop Grimes and Frankfurt Schuyler. And next game, and the next one we have up, we have the Independent League, and there's 2 here. So we have Independent Division 1, Independent Division 2. Fulton defeated Central Square 13-12, so they won theirs. Fulton defeated Nottingham. And then PSLA at Fowler lost to Central Square, which set up Fulton and Central Square in a defensive game where Fulton won the game 13-12. Section 3 Independent Division 2, we saw Pulaski get the victory over Phoenix, shutting them out for a championship 37-0. Phoenix defeated Jordan Elbridge. Pulaski defeated Port Byron Union Springs to get to the championship that Pulaski won, so congratulations to them. And much appreciation for all that all of these teams have done to be where they are and to have this opportunity. So I love it. I'm very excited about it, and I'm definitely looking forward to everything that's going to be coming up here with all of our sections, all of our classes, all of our groups. It's just a beautiful thing. It really is. And like I said, I love the fact that I get to cover these teams, and that I've gotten to know these coaches and these staffs and these student athletes so closely, especially the West Jennies, the CNSs, the Bvilles, the CBAs. So I want to thank the coaches for giving me an opportunity to be around y'all and spend some time with you. And, definitely looking forward to everything that's going to be coming up here, and can't wait. I really genuinely cannot wait for all that is to be. So with that being said, we'll jump into our final piece here, which is going to be the World Series and an ode to Papa Joe. This series has gone back and forth, and it reminds me of a song that I listened to growing up, the back, forth, and forth. So, I love that song, and such a good song. So we have the World Series going on, and I know that there's people that are Phillies fans, and there's people that are just not Astro fans, and then they're Astro fans. So there may be, depending on how many Astro fans there may be more Philly fans between Philly fans and people that don't want to see the Astros win because they're still mad that they cheated a few years back. So we go back and we look at this series so far. In the best of 7 series, the series is tied 2-2. Game 1, Phillies won that game in Houston 6-5, came all the way back and found a way. In Game 2, the Astros beat the Phillies 5-2. In Game 3, Phillies got the best of the Astros playing their first game at home of the series, winning that game 7-0. And the Astros won a game in Philadelphia 5-0 after that, which means that the Astros will be at the Phillies for Game 5 tonight, Thursday, November 3rd on Fox at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we will at least see Game 6, Phillies at Astros at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, November 5th on Fox. And then on Sunday, if necessary, we will see Game 7, Phillies at Astros at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, November 6th on Fox. So your entire weekend is potentially filled at 8 o'clock every single day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with the World Series. At least Friday and Saturday, maybe Sunday. I hope it goes 7. And I picked the Phillies, so we shall see what we shall see. It's kind of interesting. I picked going into the playoffs, I picked the Mets and the Astros. So I said I got one team 100% right, and I got the division of the other side right. I got the NL East right, but I picked the Mets. And I picked the Mets to win it all. So I was like, well, I picked the NL East to have the champion, and I picked the Astros to be on the other side. So not too shabby, and I'm going with the Phillies to win this thing for Danny Tome, Jerry Hart, Mary, and so many multiple Marys that I know, and so many wonderful people. I can't wait for this. I'm excited for it. The series has gone back and forth. We know that the Astros are a tough team to out. We know they're going to score runs. And, for the Phillies to shut them out 7-0 was a beautiful thing. I mean, you look at that, a shutout in Game 3, a shutout in Game 4, and both teams get to have that on their side, which is really, really cool. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. And we're not going to have to wait that long. Just a few hours from now in Game 5, we will see the Phillies at home host the Astros for their final home game of the series, hoping that Philadelphia can get one, because if you get the one at home, then all you got to do is win one of 2 in Houston, right? So we'll see what they do. Each team has won at home and on the road, and that is set up to be a fantastic tie series that could go 7, is definitely going to go 6, and I can't wait to watch it tonight at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time when I get back from my Beeville special at Pizza Man Pub on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York. We'll see you there at 7 o'clock to usher in the next game for the Beeville Bees, to send them off with love and support, to be there for them, and to be there for them, and to have some fun with the Baldwinsville Bees. Very appreciative that of any place that Carl Sanfilippo and the team could be, they chose to be on Wake Up Call and at Pizza Man. So thank you, and God bless you, and I appreciate that. We'll talk with you all soon on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We are live for you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You'll find us on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. You can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, TuneIn, YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Podvine, and Player FM, as well as asking your Amazon device, your Alexa devices, all your Alexa-enabled devices, as well as your Google Home devices to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that as well. A big shout-out to all of our incredible partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Mother's Cupboard, and Chick-fil-A Watertown. And of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Fins up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you know the Dolphin Time comes to you exclusively on Wake Up Call every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, every first and third Wednesday, featuring Bob Beretta in AD and DT with Athletics Director of Lemoyne, Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT, having conversations all throughout the year. Love having Bob on the show, including when we have Bob on for bonus time, as he joined us today as well, coming off of the Lemoyne men's soccer victory that has put them into the championship game, which I'm ecstatic for them to be playing in this Saturday, November 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This weekend is stacked with awesome local sports, be it college, be it high school, so I can't wait for it. And every second and fourth Wednesday, we have the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, alumni, and future Dolphins. And we do bonus time as well, as we had Tom Bonus on this week. So we had 3 editions of our Lemoyne exclusive content. We had a dolphin dive and 2 AD and DTs this week alone. Under promise, over deliver. We love doing that. You can get all of our content by going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. You can also go to our YouTube channel and subscribe at youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And, of course, for more information, you can go to the newly redesigned website of the Dolphins that launched this morning at LeMoyneDolphins.com. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are also exclusive multimedia marketing partners. Pardon me. Choking on air. It's okay. The proud multimedia marketing partners exclusively of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where we have the opportunity to speak with the Bobcats every single month, all throughout the year. We have done stories with administration, student athletes, and coaches. We're going to be bringing you a Bobcat Buzz duo exclusive from the selection show, as both head coaches of the men's and women's soccer team, respectively, Alex Grigorita of the women's team, Nick Dmitrievsky of the men's team, will be joining me for exclusive content from selection show that happened this week. I have the opportunity to talk with them and share that this Friday, as both of them and their teams will be honored as our top dogs of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. And we'll have exclusive content talking with the head coaches, who are both leading reigning national champion teams into another tournament in the USCAA, with the opportunity to repeat as national champions down in Virginia Beach, Virginia. God bless to them as always. And you can find our content by going to the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. For more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, thank you so much for listening and watching inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Find us on Wake Up Call on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Thank you to Bob Beretta for joining me for some AD and DT bonus. Shout out to the Lemoyne men's soccer team for advancing to the championship game on penalty kicks, 3-1 to take on Franklin Pierce, being their only blemish on Franklin Pierce, the number one ranked team in the nation's schedule all year. The only blemish has come from Lemoyne, and Lemoyne's trying to make 2 of those and try to win a championship in the NE10 and catapult themselves into the NCAA and continue their postseason. Big thanks to Papa Joe as always. I love you, PJ. Please get better. You're always in my prayers, my well wishes, and my positive thoughts. I love you more than I can say, and I only want you to be healthy, well, and to know that God has your back. You are blessed beyond stressed, and not only do you have a son, but you have someone else that loves you as a father as well, which should say a lot about who you are. I love you. God bless you. Get well and stay safe. With that being said, God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk Friday, and I'll see you tonight. You do not want to miss this. On the eve of the Baldwinsville Bees semifinal playoff game, they are spending the night with Wake Up Call on site at Pizza Man. We'll see you there. Let's pack the pub, 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, tonight, Thursday, November 3rd, with the Baldwinsville Bees football team on stage.